Christmas used to be sacred in our family. For 15 years, I never missed decorating the tree with Amanda and our daughter, Jessica. But last December, my world shattered when Amanda looked me in the eyes and said, "Do not come for Christmas. We will pretend we do not know you." Jessica, my sweet 16-year-old, just laughed and walked away. I never imagined staying away would reveal the truth that would change everything. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from, and hit that subscribe button for more real-life stories. My name is Steven, a 35-year-old software engineer from Seattle. I had been married to Amanda for 15 beautiful years, or at least I thought they were beautiful. We met in college, fell in love quickly, and built what I believed was a strong foundation. I can still remember how her eyes lit up when I proposed on that rainy Seattle evening. We were young and full of dreams, promising to stand by each other through whatever life threw at us. Our daughter Jessica came along a year after we got married. She was the light of my life from the moment I first held her. For years, Jessica and I were inseparable. I taught her how to ride a bike, helped with science projects, and cheered at every soccer game. She used to run to the door when I came home from work, wrapping her arms around my neck and telling me about her day. Things started changing about a year ago. I had been putting in extra hours at work, pushing for a promotion that would help us afford the dream home Amanda had always wanted. We finally purchased that beautiful 2-story colonial in a great school district last spring. I thought it would bring us closer, but instead the distance between us seemed to grow wider. Around the same time, Amanda landed a position at Blackwell and Associates, one of the most prestigious law firms in the city. She had worked incredibly hard to finish her law degree while raising Jessica, and I was genuinely proud of her accomplishment. But with her new job came new changes. Suddenly, our closet was filled with designer clothes I had never seen before. She started wearing perfume I did not recognize, and staying out late for client dinners that she never wanted to discuss. I noticed Jessica changing too. My once sweet daughter became increasingly dismissive. She stopped sharing details about school and rolled her eyes whenever I tried to connect with her. I assumed it was normal teenage behavior, but there was something more cutting about the way she looked at me sometimes, like she knew something I did not. Despite the growing tension, I was determined to fix things. Christmas had always been our special time as a family. Every year since Jessica was born, we had our traditions, picking out a tree together, making homemade ornaments, and watching the same holiday movies with hot chocolate. I thought if I could plan something really special this year, maybe it would help us reconnect. I spent weeks ordering gifts I knew they would love, scheduling time off work, and even planning a surprise weekend trip to a mountain cabin. I wanted this Christmas to remind us of what mattered most: family. Then came that Thursday evening in early December. I came home early, hoping to discuss my Christmas plans with Amanda. I found her sitting at the kitchen island, scrolling through her phone. Jessica was leaning against the counter, texting. "Hey, I was thinking about our Christmas plans," I said, trying to sound upbeat. Amanda barely looked up. "About that, Stephen. We need to talk." Something in her tone made my stomach drop. Jessica suddenly seemed very interested, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Do not come for Christmas," Amanda said coldly, finally meeting my eyes. "Jessica and I have other plans this year." I stood there stunned. "What do you mean Christmas is our family tradition?" "Things change," Amanda replied. "We will be spending it elsewhere. But I am your husband, Jessica's father." That is when Jessica laughed. Not a normal teenage laugh, but something hard and dismissive. "We will pretend we do not know you," she said, echoing her mother's coldness. "What is happening here?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Did I do something wrong? You would not understand." Amanda said, standing up. "We need space, Stephen. A lot of space." They both walked out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there trying to make sense of what just happened. My family had just effectively erased me, and I had no idea why. I moved into a small apartment downtown the following week. Despite the cruel dismissal, I continued to support them financially. The mortgage, utilities, Jessica's private school tuition, everything was still automatically paid from my account. I could not bring myself to disrupt their lives, even though mine had been completely shattered. About 2 weeks after moving out, I was reviewing our joint credit card statement when I noticed several charges that did not make sense. There were dinner receipts from restaurants I had never been to, hotel charges in the middle of the week, and a jewelry purchase for over $5,000. Amanda had always been conservative with money, often lecturing me about saving for Jessica's college fund whenever I wanted to splurge on something. My friend Michael came over to help me move some furniture into my new place and found me staring at the credit card statement. "Something does not look right," I admitted, showing him the statement. Michael studied it, then looked at me with concern. "Stephen, buddy, I do not want to say it, but these look like date expenses." "Amanda would not cheat," I said automatically. But even as the words left my mouth, doubt crept in. "I know this is hard, but you need to find out what is really going on," Michael insisted. "This rejection at Christmas, Jessica's behavior, these expenses. Something is not right." After days of internal debate, I hired a private investigator. I felt terrible doing it, but I needed answers. 1 week later, he delivered them along with photographs that confirmed my worst fears. Amanda was seeing someone named Jack Thompson, a senior partner at her law firm. The photographs showed them kissing outside restaurants, entering hotels together, and most painfully, Jack with his arm around Jessica as they shopped at an upscale mall. The investigator provided additional information. Jack Thompson was 54 years old, 20 years Amanda's senior. He had been married 3 times previously and had a reputation for mentoring younger female attorneys that often evolved into relationships. He was wealthy, powerful, and by all accounts very charismatic. What crushed me most was learning that Jessica not only knew about the affair, but had apparently embraced Jack as a replacement father figure. The investigator found social media posts where Jessica was showing off expensive gifts from my mom's friend, including a designer handbag I later discovered cost more than my monthly rent. I confronted Amanda the next day at a coffee shop near her office. I tried to stay calm, to approach the conversation rationally. "I know about Jack," I said simply. Amanda's expression flickered between surprise and annoyance before settling on defensive anger. "You had me followed." "That is pathetic, Stephen. What is pathetic is lying to your husband of 15 years instead of just telling me the truth." "The truth," she scoffed. "The truth is you were never really present. Always working, always distracted. Jack actually listens to me. He cares about what I want. And Jessica, does he care about what is best for her too? Jessica adores him. He treats her like a princess, which is more than I can say for you lately. I have always put this family first," I said, my voice shaking. "Everything I have done has been for you and Jessica." Amanda laughed bitterly. "That is what you tell yourself. But you chose your career over us years ago. Jack has shown us what it means to be truly valued." Her words felt like physical blows. Somehow in her mind, I had become the villain in our story. I tried talking to Jessica after school the following day. She responded with the same cruel dismissal. "Mom is finally happy," she told me. "Jack actually makes time for her. And for me, Jessica, I have always made time for you. When between your coding projects, you bought us a house we never see you in. Everything I did was to give you both a good life." "Well, Jack is giving us a better one," she said, climbing into her friend's car and slamming the door. Christmas came and went. I spent it alone in my apartment, while my social media feed filled with photos of Amanda, Jessica, and Jack celebrating at his beach house in Malibu. They looked happy, carefree, as if the 15 years I had invested in our family meant nothing. I spiraled after that. My work suffered. I nearly lost the job I had sacrificed so much for. I lost weight, struggled to sleep, and found myself moving through life like a ghost. I hit rock bottom the night I found myself sitting in my car outside our family home, watching the shadows of my wife and daughter moving behind the curtains, feeling like an outsider looking in at what used to be my life. Then came the moment that changed everything. I was at a small coffee shop near my apartment, mindlessly scrolling through emails when a woman approached my table. "Excuse me," she said hesitantly. "This might sound strange, but are you Stephen Parker?" I looked up confused. I had never seen this woman before. She was about my age, professionally dressed, with kind eyes that currently reflected concern. "Yes, I am." "Do I know you?" She shook her head. "No, but I recognize you from photos in Jack Thompson's house. I am Diane, his ex-wife." My heart rate accelerated. "Would you like to sit down?" Over the next hour, Diane shared information that made my blood run cold. Jack Thompson had a pattern, she explained. He targeted married women, particularly those with teenage daughters. He would shower them with attention gifts and promises, driving wedges between them and their husbands. "He collects families," she said sadly. "Makes himself the hero, the savior, until he gets bored or finds his next conquest." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I watched him destroy 3 families before mine. Nobody warned me. I want to break the cycle." Diane also revealed something even more disturbing. Jack had been quietly investigated at 2 previous law firms for financial improprieties. Nothing was ever proven, but there were suspicions that he used firm resources and client billing to fund his lavish lifestyle. "Check your wife's access to financial accounts," Diane advised, "and any business she might be doing with Jack. He has a way of entangling everything." That night I did a deep dive into our financial records. What I found was alarming. Amanda had recently been added as a signatory to several of my investment accounts that I rarely checked. Small withdrawals had begun. Additionally, she had taken out a second mortgage on our house without my knowledge, forging my signature on the documents. With Diane's help, I also discovered that Amanda and Jack had been working together on a case involving a tech company similar to mine. They had accessed proprietary information about my company through my home office computer, information that could benefit their client and potentially harm my employer. I sought legal counsel immediately. My attorney, Patricia Gonzalez, was direct and strategic. "This is not just about infidelity anymore," she explained. "This involves potential financial fraud, forgery, and corporate espionage. We need to be very careful about how we proceed." Patricia helped me secure my remaining assets and document everything. She also suggested something I had not considered. The annual Partners Gala for Blackwell and Associates is next weekend. Diane will likely have an invitation, as she still serves on their charitable foundation. If you attended as her +1, you could confront this situation directly with witnesses present. The plan was risky but felt right. I needed to stand up for myself in a way that could not be twisted or denied later. The night of the gala arrived. I wore my best suit and entered the elegant ballroom with Diane at my side. We spotted them immediately. Amanda in a stunning red dress, Jack with his arm possessively around her waist, and to my surprise, Jessica was there too, looking older than her 16 years in a designer dress I had never seen. Jack saw me first. The color drained from his face when he recognized Diane beside me. Amanda followed his gaze, her champagne glass freezing midway to her lips. Jessica's eyes widened in shock. We approached them calmly. Other partners and their spouses stood nearby, creating the perfect audience. "Jack," Diane said pleasantly. "How nice to see you again. You remember Stephen, I am sure." Jack attempted to regain his composure. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice low but threatening. "I was invited," I replied calmly, "just like I was invited to a meeting with the FBI tomorrow morning regarding some interesting financial activities between you and my wife and some questionable access to proprietary information from my company." Amanda's face paled. "Stephen, what are you talking about? Perhaps we should discuss the second mortgage you took out on our house without my knowledge, or the withdrawals from my investment accounts, or maybe the files you accessed from my home office for Jack's case against Meritech." Jack's charming facade cracked. "This is absurd. You cannot prove anything." Actually, Diane interjected, "digital evidence is remarkably persistent, as are banking records. As your former financial advisor can attest from your previous legal troubles, Several of the partners nearby were now openly listening, their expressions concerned. One of them, an older man with silver hair, stepped forward. "Jack, what is this about Meritech? That is not how we conduct business at this firm." Jack's reaction was not what I expected. Rather than maintaining his cool demeanor, he lost control. "This is a setup," he shouted, grabbing Amanda's arm roughly. "Tell them this is nonsense." Jessica flinched at his outburst, taking a step back. I saw the confusion in her eyes, the first crack in the perfect image of Jack she had built. "You are hurting me," Amanda said quietly, trying to pull away from his grip. "After everything I have done for you," Jack hissed, tightening his hold. "For both of you." That was when one of the senior partners intervened, placing himself between Jack and Amanda. "I think you need to take a walk and cool down, Jack." As security discreetly approached, I turned my attention to Jessica, who stood frozen, watching the man she had thought was so perfect reveal his true colors. "Jessica," I said gently, "would you like to step outside for a moment?" To my surprise, she nodded and followed me to the terrace. We stood in silence for several minutes. "He is not who I thought he was," she finally whispered. "People rarely are," I replied, "especially when they try too hard to seem perfect." Jessica looked at me then, really looked at me for the first time in months. "I am sorry, Dad." I felt something break and heal simultaneously within my chest. "I know, sweetheart. I know." 5 days after the gala, Jack Thompson was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation by both the law firm and the Bar Association. Amanda called me, constantly alternating between tearful apologies and desperate attempts to explain her behavior. "We can fix this," she pleaded over the phone. "We can go to counseling. Start fresh." I considered her words carefully before responding. "Amanda, I will always care about you, as Jessica's mother. But I cannot go back to someone who could discard 15 years of marriage without even giving me the chance to address whatever was wrong. I made a terrible mistake," she cried. Yes, I agreed. We both did. Mine was losing sight of what mattered while working to provide the life I thought you wanted. Yours was throwing away a family instead of telling me you were unhappy. "What about Jessica?" she asked. "Jessica will always have both of us, just separately. I am not going anywhere as her father, no matter what happens between you and me." Setting those boundaries was one of the hardest things I had ever done. But for the first time in months, I felt a sense of peace. I had stood up for myself with dignity, without seeking revenge or giving in to bitterness. Jessica and I began rebuilding our relationship gradually. At first, our conversations were awkward and stilted, but eventually she started opening up about how Jack had manipulated both her and Amanda, making subtle comparisons that chipped away at their perception of me. He would say things like, "I bet your dad is too busy to take you shopping," and then immediately offer to take me, she explained during one of our dinner meetups. It felt good to have someone pay that kind of attention to me, but now I see how calculated it was. While my personal life was healing, my professional life took a positive turn as well. My focus returned to my work, and the promotion I had been working toward finally came through. The irony was not lost on me that I now had the financial security I had been striving for, but my perception of what mattered had fundamentally changed. 3 months after that fateful Christmas, I met Sarah at a community volunteer event. She was warm, straightforward, and refreshingly authentic. We started dating slowly, both cautious from past experiences. What struck me most about Sarah was how she listened, not just to my words, but to the spaces between them, understanding what I needed often before I did. Amanda eventually found the courage to offer a genuine apology, not just for the affair, but for her role in turning Jessica against me. I was so caught up in the excitement and attention that I lost sight of what was real, she admitted. "Jack made me feel special, but you made me feel safe and loved for 15 years. I did not value that enough." That Christmas, almost a year after Amanda had told me not to come, Jessica and I created a new tradition. We volunteered at a local shelter in the morning, had lunch at our favorite diner, and then spent the afternoon making ornaments and decorating a small tree in my new house. It was different from our old traditions, but meaningful in its own way. Amanda joined us for dinner, the three of us navigating a new kind of family relationship. It was awkward at times, but also healing. Jessica seemed more at peace than she had in over a year, no longer caught between warring parents or false promises. As we sat around the dinner table, Jessica asked Dad, "What did you learn from everything that happened?" I thought carefully before answering. I learned that real love is not about grand gestures or material things. It is about showing up day after day, even when it is difficult. I learned that my worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. And most importantly, I learned that sometimes losing what you thought you wanted opens the door to what you truly need. That night, after Amanda left and Jessica had gone to bed, I stood looking at our small Christmas tree. The lights twinkled against ornaments, both old and new, a perfect metaphor for the life I was building. Parts of my old life remained treasured memories, while new experiences and relationships were being added, creating something different but equally valuable. The pain of last Christmas had transformed into something unexpected: gratitude. Gratitude for the truth that set me free, for the daughter who found her way back to me, and for the strength I never knew I had. I wonder if any of you have ever experienced a betrayal that eventually led to something better in your life. Share your stories in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life journeys. Remember, sometimes the most painful endings create the most beautiful beginnings. Thank you for listening, and whatever you are going through, know that brighter days are waiting on the other side.